wonder, was she this bit when she was 10 years younger? Come see me discreetly. She said she's got a trick or two to teach me. I don't know how I make it through this. I don't know how we make it through this. I don't know how we make it through this. I don't know. I think that you are lovely. 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 I think that you are beautiful. She's so lovely. 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 I don't know how we'll make it through this. I don't know how we'll make it through this. I don't know how we'll make it through this. I don't know how we'll make it through this. I don't know how we'll make it through this.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The event will start in 10 minutes' time.
The pub does matter. What is happening to our pubs, what is happening to our hospitality sector is little short of a disaster. It's very, very serious. There is little doubt that certainly in small town, small village Britain, when pubs close, it is a social disaster for the community. And if we can keep more pubs open, it will be a social good for the United Kingdom.
A pub is not just a place that sells beer. It doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, you can walk into most pubs, have a few pints, have a conversation with friends or strangers, and those strangers might become friends. Pubs were a place where we went after a hard week at work to unwind and socialise. Our pub culture has helped shape our country over many years, if not centuries. And our pub goers are being hammered by the Exchequer with taxes on the pints they drink. The 5-point plan. Reduce VAT to 10% for the hospitality sector. Number 2, scrap the employer national insurance increase for hospitality businesses. Number 3 is simple, cut beer duty by 10%. Number 4, staggered business rates abolition for all pubs over a 4-year period and prioritising venues in most need. The 5th and final point, we have to change regulation, the beer orders, which was introduced in the 1990s. Goodness knows why, because it tied landlords into long-term contracts and now they can barely scrape a living. Business rates are killing our hospitality industry. And pubs in our country raise over £100 million a year for charities. That equates to £1.4 billion over 10 years. Reform UK will stop the rot, not just for pubs, but for the whole hospitality sector as well.
Sit. Good boy. Pebble, sit. See, they do what they're told. Do you want a treat? Yeah, no, I've run out. I haven't got any more. I think when you buy the sea, the weather is everything. It's something you can't control in any way at all. You're out here, exposed to nature. You're not actually the master of your own destiny. It might start raining in 10 minutes' time. I just find, to be honest with you, I spend my whole week surrounded by people. You know, do this, decide that, and out here, being on my own with the dogs. It's a joy. I've always loved the coast, ever since I was a kid, been fascinated with the sea, and so it's actually pretty cool to represent the seaside constituency. We've got miles of sand, and then this bit with the sandstone cliffs and the marshes out beyond. I've fished with all my family over the years, and certainly my two sons have really taken to it in a very, very big way. Yeah, the trouble is it all gets a bit competitive. Who's catching the most, who's catching the biggest fish. You think you're out having fun, but somehow, blokes together fishing, yeah, it does get a bit competitive. The biggest fish I've caught in the UK is bluefin tuna, all catch and release, but you know, big fish weighing several £100. But I've fished in Africa, I've fished all over the world. But this is home, and here we are. It's January, the sun's coming up, it's gorgeous. Right, come on then, doggies, let's get moving, shall we? Let's do somewhere different. All along this coast, these relics from the 1940s are all still here. So these were all anti-aircraft and anti-invasion positions right along the coast. Still in amazing condition. I collect all sorts of military, but I can't collect this, I can't move this, but I've collected loads of stuff. I'm fascinated by not just the military aspects of the wars, but the civilian engagement, what everybody did, women going to work, all of those sort of things. It's plenty of rich history on this coast. You know, we talk about the economic problems, the law and order problems, but there's a bit more fundamental problem. We've actually stopped loving the country we're part of. And I still think we've got amazing influence around the world. There's so much we can do. We've got a very rich history, and we're not cherishing it. We've lost that basic sense of patriotic pride, and that's about putting our own people first. Doesn't mean we don't like anybody else. We believe in the nation, we believe in its history, we believe in its heritage, we're determined to pass it on. And that, I think, has been lost in a very, very big way. And yet I sense, particularly with the younger generation, they're hungry. They want that identity, they want that sense of belonging, they want something to be proud of. And when I formed this party, I said it was about family, community and country. And maybe we should talk a bit more about the country bit, because it really does matter. It does to me. But however bad it looks, things will turn around. They always have in the past. The good days will return.
It's time for the truth. Those that came before us built a great country, but we are set to lose it. These people run Britain as if they hate it. But whilst this government is accelerating our decline, they didn't begin it. The Conservative Party betrayed its voters. They don't have the stomach for the radical change that Britain needs. Nigel was all too often a lone voice of common sense. They laughed at him. Well, they're not laughing now. I'm proud to join the more than 270,000 people who are members of Reform UK to join this incredible movement a national movement that will pool Britain's talents, experience and expertise and deliver the real change we need. With Britain on the brink, in real danger, this is what we must do. Britain is broken. Britain needs reform, and reform needs you.
Politician. I want to feel inspired, I want to feel motivated, I want to feel part of a mission that is on its way to save our country, and for too long the Conservative Party just hasn't been that. So, you know, it's been a growing realisation. It's just become apparent how toxic the Conservative Party is, how it's not for me. It's not for me, and I'm very happy to be leaving the Conservative Party behind.
How are you? Right.
He was right on Brexit. He's been right on immigration. Far before many people were talking about these problems, he was brave enough to raise his head above the parapet and voice the anger and the frustrations of millions of Britons.
Somebody who's reached high office in the parliament, reaching up to the rank as Home Secretary, who was there during those years and saw the betrayal, and now has the courage of her convictions to come and stand with me on a reform platform and speak to you today. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome former Home Secretary, Sir Rabbit.
I want to say thank you. I feel like I've come home.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Time for Reform rally, live from the NEC Birmingham. Please take your seats and make sure your mobile phone is switched off, as the event is about to begin. Please welcome to the stage your host for the Time for Reform rally, broadcaster Jeremy Kyle.
Ladies and gentlemen, what a turnout. Welcome to Birmingham! Here's the thing. Monday afternoon and 2,500 people, more than the Tories got across the whole damn week. How about that? Welcome along. A fantastic turnout, of course. I mean, reform is, by all accounts, on the march. Up to 270,000 new members, and you are the heartbeat of what this organisation is trying to do. There is real momentum, but I do actually have an announcement to make. It's 3:15 in the United Kingdom, and Keir Starmer is still the bloody Prime Minister. Not sure how long that will last. The Director of Comms resigned earlier. At 2:30, the leader of the Scottish Labour Party, Samwar, announced that Starmer will go. Lots of people have thoughts on that. We've got the Manderson scandal, of course. So much is on the line, I think. And I think Nigel and the team will tell you today that general election can actually feel closer than it has ever felt before. And that, yeah. Some parts of the media will tell you this is media noise. I think it's real momentum, and I think the 2,500 people here today will tell you that there is a vibe in this country that is getting stronger and stronger by the day. We thought we'd come to Birmingham, a city at the heart, Britain's second city at the heart of the United Kingdom, and to be fair, a place that's experienced many problems and a place where real change needs to happen. And Reform tell you, the change starts right now, ladies and gentlemen. So you'll know that the Magnificent Seven have become the Eight. I was trying to work out what I could call them, the After Eights, maybe. All seven over there on that little stage. If you shine a light on Richard Tice, he's already sat there waiting to be interviewed. Give Richard Tice a round of applause. So 8 members of Parliament, including Nigel, of course, 3 new members, 900 councillors, and of course it all aims towards May the 7th, those elections in England, Scotland and Wales. Those are the ones that the Labour Party haven't cancelled because they're bothered about the results, I suspect. But are those boos, ladies and gentlemen? It's quite weird having people behind you. I feel like Keir Starmer. I should be looking over my shoulder. Somebody stabs me in the shoulder blades. Listen, we're going to go over there, we're going to interview all 7 members of Parliament, and then the big moment later on, the man that many people believe will be the next Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Nigel Farage, will be on this stage later, ladies and gentlemen. So, pick up microphone and walk. Just make some noise. I'm going to try and not fall over. If I don't fall over, that'd be good. Now, as I walk along here, I have to walk past the press. Watch this. Where are they? Where are the press? Wave if you're in the press. Oh, they're nowhere to be seen. Where are the press? Oh, all right, press, how are you? Do one. I'm joking. So listen, let's make our way. This is stage B, apparently. There's a lovely man with a camera. Oh, there's the press. There they are. Look at that. Don't fall up the stairs, idiot. That would be really... Richard Tice, Deputy Leader of Reform. How are you?
How are we? All right?
Yeah, not bad. Give Richard a round of applause.
Wow. This is very cosy, isn't it?
Where should we start?
Wow, good question. Actually, I've got a bone to pick with you.
You've got a bone to pick with me?
Yes, I have.
Why?
Yes. Well, you see, there you were, interviewing my beloved, live on Talk TV just the other day.
Could I just say up 39% on the radio station?
Yeah.
More people listen to...
Forget all that. It's when you said that she should dump me that we became ex-friends.
Well, I'll tell you why that was, because we did a lie... No, I'm joking. Right, listen. Have you bought the ring yet, Tice? Come on.
It's work in progress.
Jesus, you're boring, man. Let's talk about you as one of the originals. Somebody who dreamt about a party that represented British values, that started it with our own chairman, David Bull, all those years ago. You've gone from 2 or 3% to leading, I think, in the last 300 or 200 opinion polls.
It's remarkable, isn't it? It was actually, we were literally at 1%. Just think, less than 5 years ago, we stood in the May 21 elections and we got 2 councillors. And now we've got almost 1,000. I mean, it's remarkable. I mean, it's like an entrepreneurial political
Got a round of applause. One of the criticisms of the Labour Party for many people is that when a government comes to power and talks about growth, growth means business. I think the business community, certainly here in Birmingham actually, would say that the last 18 months, in fact the last few years, have been very difficult. The question to me for you is very simple. What would reform do to encourage business, which equals growth in anybody's book?
Well, I've been meeting businesses, many meetings over the last 6-8 months, and actually energising people by saying we're going to cut out wasteful, daft government spending it. We're seeing it with councils, but also asking them to tell us what smart and safe regulations we should keep that we all want and need, but also what daft, dither and delaying regulations prevent them from investing more money, hold them back, reduce their appetite to invest, because we need that investment, we need that growth, we need that energy, that motivation. And people need to be encouraged to take some risk. And people are, they're really enthusiastic about the fact that wouldn't it be quite a good idea if people who understand about business, who've been successful business people, might actually then go and run not just a business, but also run councils and then
let's talk about councils, because so many people are up in arms about the Labour Party denying certain councils the chance for re-election on May the 7th. We're in Birmingham, which in itself is quite poignant. I don't think most people in Birmingham have had their rubbish collected for 16 months. This is the council I know you're looking closely at. Do you really think that you can turn a council like Birmingham around, Richard?
Absolutely. It's an incredible city, Birmingham. It really is. It's a wonderful city.
All right, give it a round of applause. There you go.
What was that?
That was Birmingham, mate.
Very good. How did he do? Marks out of 10?
That didn't go down well, did it? Go on.
But it's an incredible city.
Yeah, it is.
And
Britain's second city.
Britain's second city. It's the largest council across the whole of Europe. And it's been badly run for so many years by Labour, sort of running it into the ground. And yeah, we can turn it around. And our ambition is to say, if you want to fix Birmingham, then vote reform, and we can turn this around. And what a great thing that would be, this incredible city. Sorted, saved and fixed by reform. And we've got to be ambitious.
I think ambition's really important. One of the biggest things that you read about and hear about every day is the media will say, oh, reform's about, it's about headlines. There's no substance. And what I'm interested in is, what do you hear when you're out and about? What do people say to you on the streets and on the doorsteps? What's the #1 issue that reform must deal with?
Oh, I think people are just so fed up with the state of the country. Enough is enough, and they can't wait for a general election. And people just enthusing about the sooner it comes, the better.
Do you think it will be before 2029?
Oh, I think the odds on that have dramatically shortened. I mean, yes is the answer. We've been saying for many months it could be late 27. Even that now looks quite a long time. I mean,
the people in this room would want to know this, because we've heard about, making the party professional, taking other people on board, giving the impression that, you are ready, if you like, to govern. Are you ready?
We are absolutely all fired up, and we are gearing up, getting ready, and yes, whenever there's a general election, we would be more than ready, in every sense of the word. And people should trust us, believe in it, help us, energise it, and spread the good word.
And the last question, which you don't know about, is this. It's 3:25 on the 9th of February, and a certain man is holed up in Downing Street, I hear quite depressed, quite worried. He's lost his chief of staff, he's lost his communications director, the leader of his party in Scotland says he should go. Richard Tice, when does Starmer leave?
The sooner the better, everybody. The sooner the better. We want him gone.
Ladies and gentlemen, and I mean this genuinely, this man has been here since the beginning. He might be a bit tight in terms of buying a ring, but I give you Reform's Deputy Leader, Richard Tice, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, well done. Richard Tice. So as I said, Monday, early afternoon, evening here in Birmingham, £2,500. Make some noise. One of your newest MPs, Robert Jenrick's on the stage. How are you, new boy?
I'm very good, and I'm not late this time, unlike on the night of my defection, but it's very good to be here.
Quick question. What's the biggest difference between Reform and the Conservative Party that you've noticed since you've joined?
Look, if the Conservative Party had tried to organise an event like this, how many people do you think would have turned up? 2 people, someone said over there. Look, there is no other political party in British politics that could organise an event like this. There really isn't. And why is that? It's because something special is happening in the country right now, where millions and millions of decent, patriotic Brits are standing up and saying, enough. We want to take our country back. We love this great country. We're not prepared to see it slip into decline. We are going to come together to rally behind Nigel and Reform and ensure at the next general election, and that might come sooner than we all thought, we are going to ensure that for the first time in my lifetime, the first time for a long time, we have a great reforming government that turns this country around. And that's what I'm excited to be a part of.
There you go. One of the phrases that gets bandied about a lot is broken Britain. And I think even the people in Birmingham, with the problems that they've got in the council, would say that so many parts of so much of this country are broken. I'd love a little insight. Tell us about that meeting of the Conservative Shadow Cabinet before you left, when you sat there open-mouthed and they said Britain isn't broken.
Yeah. Well, look, it was almost worse than that, actually, Jeremy. They put onto the screen the Conservative Party's mantra, and at the heart of it was exactly that. The Conservatives do not believe that Britain is broken. And I said, well, I do believe Britain is broken. When I walk the streets, when I go to visit factories and pubs and talk to people on the doorstep in North Nottinghamshire, people think the country's a mess right now. Their wages are going nowhere, their bills are rising, they're sick of immigration, the small boats, their kids can't get on the housing ladder, the NHS, the potholes in the roads, you name it. And Shadow Cabinet member after Shadow Cabinet member rolled their eyes, shook their head, said they disagreed with me.
Why?
You know, I just don't think that they walk those same streets.
Yeah.
I think they're so out of touch. But Jeremy, the worst group was, there were other people around that table who said, Rob, we agree with you. Britain is broken, but we can't say it because the Tories broke Britain. And that convinced me, that was the final straw to me, that if that is your mindset, how can the British public ever trust you again? And I think that the Tories broke Britain, Labour have made it even worse, and the country is now crying out for change. And that is the incredible opportunity that this party has.
When you make as momentous a decision as you did, yeah, because look, I know you, and I know how difficult that decision was to make, and it was incredibly brave. What would you say to Conservative voters who, you know, disillusioned? I tell the same story every time on this. I did an interview before the last election. I was interviewing a Tory MP and I was interviewing a potential Reform candidate. And the Reform candidate talked about, you know, controlling our immigration, more police on the streets, intel, dealing with law and order, lower interest rates, lower taxation, better public services, all those things. And as he said this, I'm thinking, you know what, as a Tory voter all my life, that was the sort of thing that I adhered to. And the Tory MP jumped in and went, no, that's far right. And I remember thinking at that point, you've lost me, mate. What would you say to Tory voters who right now are looking at you, looking at Suella and Andrew as well, and thinking Reform could be the answer? What would you say to those would-be Tory, well, would-be Reform voters?
Yeah, look, I understand why this is difficult for some people. It was hard for me. Many of us have deep loyalty to political parties, either because we've been members of them, we've served in government alongside them, or we've just voted for them time and again. Look, I joined the Conservative Party when I was 16, in 1997 in Wolverhampton. There were not many 16-year-old Conservatives
just up the road
in Wolverhampton, exactly. And I've been part of it, or was part of it, for a very long time. But sometimes, and this is the crucial thing, sometimes you ultimately have to put the country before party loyalty. And that is the journey that I went on. I think it's the journey that millions and millions of people across our country are doing right now. Maybe they've always voted Labour. Maybe they've always voted Conservative. But they've watched both of those parties let the country down. And they see the country in this moment of peril, and they think, I'm not prepared to let this great country slip through our fingers. So I'm going to put aside the way I've always voted and put my faith in us, in reform, in you in this hall today. And that is why we've got to make sure that we use the days, the weeks, the months ahead wisely, because we can't let those people down. I am convinced that when the general election comes, people will vote for change, and that we will get Nigel into Downing Street. We will get a reform government, and that government has to do what, frankly, no government has done in recent times: arrest our decline, stop the boats, secure our borders, raise living standards, fix our public services, restore pride in our country once again. That prize is within our grasp. We've got to ensure that we just do everything in our power, day and night, from now until the general election, to make sure that we do it and that we don't let the British public down when we have the honour of serving this country.
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it, Robert Jenrick. Thank you, my friend. Very good.
Thank you. Thanks,
There you have
everyone.
it. Robert Jenrick, look, waving. I might do a bit of that. Right. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, a man who's been there almost from the beginning, the Chief Whip, the main bruiser, Lee Anderson on the stage, ladies and gentlemen. How are you, son? All right. How are you?
I feel good, Jeremy, to be honest. Is this working?
Yeah,
I feel good, yeah.
You look like Madonna.
It's like our second home, this place, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
We're here a couple of times a year. It's great.
Mate, I wanted to ask you something just off the cuff very quickly. You've been there almost from the beginning. You were one of the first to cross the floor.
I was the first, but I don't like to talk about it.
Well, I think you should.
Yeah.
Why do you not want to talk about it?
I do, really. I was the first Reform MP, and I was the first elected Reform UK
What do you
MP.
make of the new lot, Lee?
I'm not sure about some of them, but you know what? I am quite angry with one of my MPs, one of my flock, and that's Richard Tice.
Why? Because he hasn't bought Isabella a ring?
He's got engaged to this beautiful woman,
yeah.
and the old skinflint has not even put his hand in his pocket.
Do you know what he
yet.
says? Do you know what he says to me every day? Oh, you've got to be patient.
No.
For a man
Yeah.
with his means,
It's
just
not only-
buy a ring,
It's
Tice.
not just that, Jeremy. A man of his age as well. I mean, the clock's
Let's
ticking.
not talk about age. I mean, to be honest, he's punching. Lee, a lot of us watched you recently launch with Nigel Reform Save Our Pubs campaign, which I think resonated with so many people for so many reasons. Why is it so important to you in Reform, my friend?
I think I do like to support my local businesses in my community. I do spend a lot of time in the pubs, purely political reasons.
Of course.
Of a weekend.
You don't drink, do you?
We always say, me and Nigel and the rest of the team, always say that every pub is a parliament.
Yeah.
When you go into a pub, Jeremy, you've got England football managers in there. You've got rugby football managers, cricket managers. You've got experts in every single field sit in a pub on a Sunday afternoon, talking nonsense a lot of the time. Sometimes they're talking common sense, but it's about opinions. People can go and swap opinions, and, have a few pints, and it's great. And I just think that this government, they don't want anybody to have their own opinion. They don't want people to socialise and mix together. Pubs are, pubs have been around in
They're
our
the
country.
hub, aren't they?
They're
The
a hub.
hub.
If you're down in the dumps, go out and see your mates. They're a great place.
One of the things that, doing what I do, that I see as a main criticism of where we're at the moment politically, and I include the Tories and Labour in that, is that, it's based in Westminster. It's almost divorced from the people in this country. One of the things that Reform, and you certainly do, you spend a lot of time travelling around the country. David Bull, our fantastic chairman, does the same, meeting members, meeting the sorts of people that have come today on a Monday afternoon. What makes members so important to this movement, Lee?
They are. Nigel always says they're the people's army, and they are the people's army. And the great thing about our membership, which a lot of people out there in Westminster don't realise, Jeremy, is I would say that 70% of our membership have never been in a political party before. They've just sat by and watched, and they're disgusted with what's happening to our country, and they've said to themselves, enough is enough. I'm getting involved, I'm coming to rallies, I'm delivering leaflets, I'm standing for council, maybe stand for Parliament, but the most important thing is they're stepping up for their country, and they are part of the People's Army, and thank you, every single one of them.
There you go. You've come up with some quite famous nicknames for those in power. I mean, you call Rachel... What do you call Rachel Reeves?
I did it in Prime Minister's Question Times
Did you?
last year, yeah. I called her Rachel from Accounts. And
I think she looks like Richard III, if you have a look at a picture.
Well, there's a few other names, a few nicknames. But there's quite a few in there. We've got Mastermind, David Lammy.
Calamity Lammy, ladies and gentlemen. Can I just take a moment? I mean, I'm sure this won't happen, but if Starmer does resign, either this afternoon or whatever, can we all just cast a thought and think, even if it was for a week, Calamity Lammy as the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom?
It's shocking, Jeremy. I mean, this is a thing. Most of the country wants Starmer to go. But who's going to walk into number 10 behind him? Is it going to be Lammy? Is it going to be Angela Rayner?
She's had a makeover, Angela.
Oh, dear, I think she's throwing the money away, isn't she, to be honest with you?
You got Wes Streeting. Turned out, I found out this morning on the show that Wes Streeting was organised Peter Mandelson's stag do.
Well,
he's up to his neck in it.
Wes Streeting's a pound shop Mandelson, that's all he is. In fact, he came up to Ashfield before the general election in 2024 to campaign. And I actually thanked him in the House because I think his appearance helped me win that seat.
Have you got any other nicknames?
I have, Jeremy.
Any for your own MPs?
I don't know. It's... I don't want to talk about Ticey too much.
No. Does he annoy you?
No, he's been here from the beginning, Richard has. And I will say this about Richard. He's the reason I'm here. He's the reason there's 2,000 people in this room today. So we should give Richard Tice...
Should give him a big round of applause for Tice, man.
Jeremy, before I go. It wasn't always a bed of roses between me and Richard. When I was first in trouble with the Tory party, me and Richard didn't get on. In fact, in one interview, I called him a pound shop Diane Abbott. And
oh dear.
What I want to, what I want to say now, I want to apologise to Diane Abbott.
I think I won't have a job for long. I think you're amazing. I think you embody reform. Ladies and gentlemen, your Chief Whip, Lee Anderson. There he is. So from the man who was the very first Reform MP, Lee Anderson, to the man who is the latest new recruit, the MP for Romford, Andrew Rossendale, ladies and gentlemen. How are you? Very nice to see you. Thank you. I asked you in the green room, which is really interesting, because you came over to Reform a matter of weeks ago after Robert. And I know there's a lot of people who have said, you know, this party, yes, it needs experience and it mustn't take anybody, but this has been a decision that you've been thinking about a long, long time, Andrew, hasn't it?
So I was Reform before Reform was even thought of.
Why did it take you 5 years then, man?
And I joined Reform because I love my country and I believe that we need a fresh start for Britain, a new government, with a Prime Minister that's going to stand up for our country. I've known Nigel for 25 years. I've always believed in the same things as what Nigel believes in, but I fought very hard and very vocally within the Conservative Party to get them to be what we should be, a country that stands up for Britain. But I failed. In the end, it was very clear to me that the only way forward for our country is to have a Reform-led government with Nigel Farage as our Prime Minister.
What's it like, quite right? What's it like, finally, then, reaching that moment when you know you're a Reform MP, the shackles are off, the things that you fervently believe in, you can now talk about? A bit like Robert, is it sort of amazing? Do you feel totally different?
Do you know, it's like a bird being freed from a cage.
Yeah.
The problem with the Conservative Party is that everybody's managed everybody reads from a script.
Yeah.
You're told what to do.
Are you?
I think so,
Told
yes.
what to say?
Absolutely. As a shadow minister until 3 weeks ago, every speech I gave had to be approved. Now, I'm free to say what I truly believe in.
Is that because you're with a party that trusts your judgment and trusts your ability, you feel?
Now I have a party that truly goes with the grain of the British people and goes with my own beliefs. And for me, to speak out as I can do now freely, I'm actually going with the grain of reform, not being sort of on the sidelines and saying things that I know the party establishment won't like. So when I speak now, I can speak freely and do what I believe is right for our country, and that's why I joined Reform.
When you're out and about in the last... Yeah, absolutely. When you're out and about in the last 3 weeks, how are you received? I mean, here we are, 2,500 people inside the NEC again, an amazing turnout. And I wasn't being flippant when I said that the Tories couldn't even get that over 3 days at their conference. The feeling is of real... I hate using the word momentum because that reminds me of Corbyn, but there is real momentum, isn't there? And it must be a real enlightening experience to be part of that.
Jeremy, it feels like coming home.
Hey!
This feels like what the Conservative Party used to be when Margaret Thatcher was there. You know, we would turn up and she would inspire everybody to go out and fight to rescue our country in the 1980s. And it feels like Reform is taking on that mantle, carrying that conservative flame forward, or the belief in Britain that Margaret Thatcher always stood for. So yes, it's liberating coming to Reform, and it's inspiring because we have a leader in Nigel who actually will go into number 10 Downing Street and have a plan to put our country back on the right track, which is so desperately needed. We have a terrible Labour government. I think the worst government...
He's still in power, by the way. Breaking news. Starmer's still there.
Is he still there?
Still in there.
Not for long. Not for long, but we need change in this country. And that's why this new movement, Reform, led by Nigel, the British people, I believe, will elect us to power. But if we don't, our country will suffer. So that's what we need to do, get Nigel in at number 10.
First step towards that, of course, is the... absolutely. The first step towards that is the local elections in a few months' time. 900 councillors, nearly 1,000 Reform has now. How do you see those local elections going? Do you think there'll be a barometer for what the country thinks?
Well, we've got very important elections on the 7th of May, and I think that the British people are in the mood for something different and something better. What's the point of voting for the two old parties? You know that nothing's going to change. With Reform, you know that you've got a new party with a vigorous new agenda and a clear plan for local government, but also for our country. Now, I'm a Greater London MP, or I'm really Essex, to be honest. Romford's Essex, it's not London.
Good dog track.
However, great dog track. However, we are part of Greater London, so we need to get Layla in as our mayor, because the one person, apart from Keir Starmer, the one person we want to see the back of is Sir Sadiq Khan.
I have to do this in as balanced a way, but I can't. I'll have to keep quiet. Andrew, I know everybody in Reform is delighted that you've made a step after all those years. I know that Nigel personally is delighted, and we wish you all the very best. Your newest MP, Andrew Rossendale. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you.
There you go. Now, we're getting through them, the Magnificent Seven. Next, you can't walk on yet. No, don't, I'm building you up. She did the impossible in Runcorn and Helsby. This lady, the First Lady of Reform and a good friend of mine, Sarah Pochin, ladies and gentlemen.
It didn't fall over.
How are you?
That's one of the rare occasions we don't greet each other with a bit of a kiss and a cuddle.
Well, I know, it was. We're trying to... Shh.
Are we behaving? Are we behaving?
Sod it, never mind.
I feel
so
better
lovely.
now.
8 months ago, you did the impossible in Runcorn and Helsby, and I think for many people across the political spectrum, that sent somewhat of a wave of actually reform isn't just about headlines, and it's more than that. It's got 270,000 members now. It's an organisation that has a way that it wants to move forward. How exciting was that moment for you?
It was the most incredible night of my life, actually winning.
Have you said that to your husband?
Well, to be fair, I did think he felt a bit of competition when I said that, because I actually spent the night with Nigel Farage, but we'll leave that there. But no, joking aside, what that showed is that a normal, common sense person like myself, you know, I'm not Eton, I'm not Oxford, I'm just a mum that has worked all her life, brought up 2 children, and understands people, understands what people need to make their lives better. And that's what the people of Runcorn and Helsby needed. They needed a strong voice, and they embraced me. And you know what? We won by 6 votes. If we had an election tomorrow, I guarantee I'd
win by 8.
6,000
Oh,
votes.
6,000. I don't know if many people know this, maybe they do, but you spent many years as a magistrate, and I know that the justice system in its entirety in the United Kingdom enrages you. We speak weekly on my show. You're good enough to comment every single week, Sarah. And the way this country treats, well, criminals seemingly favoured, victims favoured over, it's a mess. And you've said that that is something that you, I mean, some months ago, Layla and Nigel, of course, launched Britain is Lawless, and you believe that strongly, don't you?
Well, look, what I've seen over 20 years working in the courts is an absolute deterioration in law and order. But more importantly, we've seen the politicisation of the judiciary that should be neutral. They're not neutral anymore in this country. We see a 2-tier justice. We see the justice system clamping down on free speech, on democracy, you know, the values of our country. And one of the things that upsets me more than anything is successive governments, Tories and Labour government, have failed to keep women and girls safe. And I'm telling you,
very true.
The grooming gangs scandal is a disgrace, because every single day that goes by and no politician puts that inquiry into, you know, into first gear and gets it even off the ground, every single day another young girl is raped, abused, drugged, threatened.
Can I ask you a question? Would a reform government instigate a national inquiry straight away? Because I agree with you. We were talking this morning on the show about, you know, the Prince and Princess of Wales and Epstein. The national... That grooming thing is the most disgusting stain, is it not? Would you guarantee, if you're involved in that process, that a reform government would do something about that instantly?
Instantly. Absolutely guarantee it.
It's really important.
It's a disgrace.
And I think a lot of people... Sarah, talk about the economy quite rightly, and there's that argument reform there's people in reform who have run successful businesses, and frankly, if you look at what we've got at the moment, I'm sure they will do a better job. What about law and order? That is also massively important, is it not?
Do you know, one of the subjects that I know inside out, I know about prisons, I know what's going on in prisons, and how the prisons are not being run by prison officers, they're being run by the prisoners in so many places, and that's not the fault of the prison officers. We are employing now cheap, young, poorly trained, poorly equipped prison officers. We're even getting them in from Nigeria. They cannot speak English, and they use cards to instruct prisoners to go back to their cells. That is happening. You know what we need to do? We need to get the military veterans back in the prisons who understand discipline and understand mental.
I was going to ask you about that, because we've always talked an awful lot about veterans, and it's a really close subject to my heart. I don't want to get political. That's what I'm not here for. I don't understand how we treat our veterans in this country. And I think a lot of people who are here today, and most people who support reform, want to know that a reform government would do right by the men and women who have put a uniform on and protected this bloody country. I really do believe that.
close to my heart. My dad was in the British Army. He did 3 tours of Northern Ireland. And many of you will see that I take every opportunity to stand up in Parliament and talk and protect and support our veterans. And under a reform government, no military personnel who just followed the line of duty, who followed orders, will ever get prosecuted for their actions.
Amazing, amazing. Quite right, too. Lovely. It was fine.
Is that it?
Sorry about this. I'll see you in the morning then, yeah?
I'll see you in the morning.
8 o'clock, don't tell anybody. Sarah Potion, ladies and gentlemen, give her a round of applause. Next up, a gentleman who I haven't actually interviewed before. Danny Kruger, ladies and gentlemen. Give him a round of applause. Danny, how are you? Welcome.
Thank you.
Actually, for you, before we talk about the job you were given in September, reforms preparing for government, what's it like for you coming from the Tory party to this? I mean, it's a Monday afternoon. It's an incredible turnout. And the vibe is such a positive one.
Yeah, the vibe in reform is just the best thing about it. And it's a kind of paradox because, you know, we're the party who realise that Britain is broken.
Yep.
We're the ones who really know how bad things are. That's why we've got this momentum. And on the other hand, we're the most cheerful, optimistic, upbeat party of all. You've got the Tories who don't accept the problem, but they're really downbeat and gloomy and depressed. We know how bad it is, but we're the party that know we can change it. So it's a really good atmosphere. It's probably just because Nigel is just a cheerful guy and his spirit spreads through the party.
And I think honesty is a really important point as well. As I said, in September you were tasked with leading reforms preparing for government. How's it going? Is reform ready? I mean, we look at what's happening politically and we wonder whether that moment... I mean, he's still in power, by the way. Breaking news, Keir Starmer still sat at number 10. Yeah, I know. Are the Reform Party ready? Because critics will say, how can you?
Yeah, listen, we are getting ready, and we're getting ready fast. Before I arrived, a huge amount of work had been done, and I want to pay tribute to Zia Youssef, who's been leading the policy work. And developing a whole range of very carefully worked out plans, particularly around the border. That's the first thing we've got to do. So we have a properly costed, developed plan for how we're going to restore control of our border. But there's a whole range of other work that's been going on as well, some of which we've announced and some of which we're waiting to announce. But listen, whenever Labour finally collapse, and it might well happen sooner than we think, reform will be ready.
Do you know one of the biggest things that gets asked when we're doing the show, and I always put this to Reform MPs, I put it to every MP, all I've ever heard for years, Danny, is the civil service, the blob, they'll decide. When a government falls, 200 people lose their jobs, 100 ministers and 100 sidekicks, but 10,000 in Whitehall sit there. A lot of people will say, it's all right to say you'll have the will to do what you want to do, but history says the blob always comes out on top. How do you change that, pal?
We totally recognise that problem. It's not just 10,000, by the way. That's just in the Cabinet Office. That's just the little central secretariat.
10,000 in the Cabinet Office?
That's right. You've got 500,000 people in the civil service across the piece. So we have to make significant reductions just in the headcount and the wage bill for that. But yes, the real plan is that we are going to go in not with a flimsy little manifesto, which during the election campaign the civil servants have read and they say, welcome Prime Minister, here's your office, and this is how we're going to implement your manifesto. Nigel's not going to sit there taking that. He's going to say, no, here's the plan. It's not just a thin manifesto. We've got a whole programme of government. We've got legislation drafted. We've got appointments prepared. We've got plans in place. And here to the civil servants, these are your orders. And the crucial thing is, if they don't obey our orders, they'll be out. So that's the crucial difference.
I think a lot of people across different political divides have woken up to the realisation that the civil service... There was a story when the Tories were in Rwanda, and whether you agreed or disagreed with Rwanda, but a bunch of civil servants, I remember, disagreed with it and used taxpayers' money to go to court to say to a democratically elected government, we don't agree. Why do these people, or why have these people been allowed to get the power that they have?
You've got a culture in which people think there is a higher authority than Parliament, and it's international law. And so civil servants and judges think that we can disregard what government has decided, disregard what Parliament has voted for, and we are going to appeal to this higher law. So that's the crucial reason why we need to get out of the European Convention on Human Rights, repeal the Human Rights Act, put Parliament back at the heart of power.
A lot of people, the ECHR is suddenly the bandwagon on everybody's jumped, but your reform, you and your colleagues have been saying it for a long time. What about all those ghastly lawyers on huge salaries that find any law in the land abroad? Do you say that this party has the resolve and the will to, whatever it takes, get out of the ECHR and rid ourselves of the inability, as a democratically elected country, to make its own decisions?
Absolutely. That is our firm commitment.
Yep.
So the first thing we will do is repeal the Human Rights Act, which brought the European Convention into UK law, and we will withdraw from the Convention itself and from the jurisdiction of the court. But because of these years in which the Human Rights Act has brought the Convention into English and British law, there is going to be a whole process of untangling that. But the absolute commitment we have is that there's only one law that will apply in the courts of this country, and those are the laws made in our sovereign parliament.
Absolutely fantastic. Danny, MP for East Wiltshire, enjoying today?
It's tremendous.
Danny Kruger, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, Danny.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And finally, in the Magnificent Seven, our latest person who joined, ladies and gentlemen, Suella Braverman. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
That was a bit dramatic, that defection, wasn't it? How was it for you? I mean, it was, the dust has settled a little bit, feeling a bit more calm?
Calmer, liberated, inspired, very, very much at home. As Andrew said, as I said on the day, I feel for the first time in many years that I'm no longer politically homeless.
I noticed that Andrew said that as a shadow minister, almost everything that he said and did, everything, you know, if he was breathing, he had to check. That liberation, I guess, is energising, isn't it?
Yes, I think what the problem with the Conservative Party is, and for me, is ultimately I stopped feeling proud of the Conservative Party. I stopped believing the Conservative Party, and I couldn't even trust my own party. There'd been too many betrayals. There'd been too many broken promises. And I gave it some time. Things didn't change. And it feels wonderful to be in such wonderful company and in a party that I have faith in, that I believe in, and that I know, without a shadow of the doubt, will deliver for the British people.
It's interesting, you know what my job is. The critics of the defections will say, blah, blah, blah. You and Robert, I know, were very at odds with what happened. He resigned, you left government as well. And I think, as it's a really interesting point, that you took time before you made the decision that you made. One of the arguments that Robert was talking about earlier was broken Britain. Almost a lack of acknowledgement by the Tory shadow cabinet that Britain is broken. Britain is bloody broken. Why is the Tory party scared to say that, do you think, Suella?
Because they're deluded. And I've had enough of Tory delusion. And they're lying to themselves and to the British people. And I've had enough of Tory lies.
When you hear Danny, who's been part of preparing for governments in September, talking about leaving the ECHR, the Human Rights Convention, it seemed to me, as a casual observer, that everybody else jumped on that bandwagon. Do you believe the Tory party when they say we'll leave the ECHR?
Oh, goodness, no way. Goodness, I got to the end of my tether because of the great betrayals. And one of their great betrayals by the Conservative Party was their refusal, not just a failure, a refusal to leave the European Convention on Human Rights when they had the mandate, when they had the opportunity, the power, and indeed the duty to do so. Those of us, like Andrew, Robert, myself, Danny, who were calling for us to leave the ECHR were sidelined. We were ignored. And eventually, they got so frustrated with us. So, leaving the ECHR, great betrayal number one. Failing to cut visas and legal migration, great betrayal. It was on the Conservative watch that record numbers of people came into this country, contrary to manifesto promises, contrary to the Brexit promises, a total dereliction of duty. Great betrayals.
Can I ask you, see, you have to say layperson's terms nowadays. You can't say layman's terms, can you? You'll upset somebody. Oh, bugger it. In layman's terms, leaving the ECHR has become a line that people throw out. Reform have said they'll do it. The people here believe that. What difference will that make? You were a Home Secretary. What difference will that make?
Well, as Home Secretary, I was unable to remove a single illegal migrant to Rwanda because of the ECHR. As Home Secretary, I was unable to deport foreign paedophiles and foreign drug dealers because of the ECHR. The ECHR blocked the flights to Rwanda. The ECHR is the reason why, as Sarah was saying, our brave veterans are being persecuted through the courts. The ECHR is one of the reasons, actually, why the police are so powerless in the face of protesters, militant protests. The ECHR has totally crippled the government's ability to deliver law and order and border security for the British people.
But so why can't successive governments have worked that out? Why is it only Reform initially that stuck its neck above the line with Nigel and said, we'll leave the ECHR? Are they stupid or what?
That's a great question. Because there is an orthodoxy, there is a consensus within the establishment, and by the establishment I mean Whitehall, I mean civil servants, the judiciary, and I'm afraid the Conservative Party. It is part of the establishment. There is a consensus within the establishment that the ECHR is sacrosanct. And no way on earth could any respectable country dare to leave it. And that is an outdated view that is not serving the national interest anymore.
They always thread out, don't they? Yeah.
It's very similar to the European Union. You know, Nigel was the original Brexiteer. I voted to leave the European Union because an institution which started with very respectable goals ended up destroying our democracy. There comes a point when you say enough is enough, immigration is too high, our democracy is being undermined, our freedom, our sovereignty is being crippled. We have to move on, we have to change, and it takes courage, and that's why I'm very inspired by Nigel Farage.
It's really great to meet you, because as a Tory, you'd never come on the show, and thank you for wearing an outfit that matches the chair. I thought it was absolutely
My John Travolta jacket today.
Your latest MP, Suella Braverman, ladies and gentlemen, stay there, stay there, stay there. I'm going walking.
I will come on your show.
She just said, I'll come on your show, you're very nice. Round of applause. The wires are falling out. Right, we are heading back to the main stage, and we are very near to the main man himself. We're walking past the press. They've all gone a bit quiet now. How the press all right? They've all gone... Are we having a nice time, ladies and gentlemen? Not a bad bunch of people. I just want to grab somebody. Look at them all. They're thinking, who's he coming for now? Look at Tice. He's nervous. It's going to cost me a few quid. Borrow it off here. He's got a few quid. I just want to take 2 minutes and give this man a round of applause. Your chairman, David Bull, ladies and gentlemen. The job has encompassed almost all of you, and you have put your heart and soul into this, haven't you?
Yeah, I really have. It's extraordinary. I feel really like a proud parent, I suppose, over the many years.
8 kids more than me.
So, look, Richard was right. Without Richard, party wouldn't be here. We were polling at 2%, 3%. We are now polling at 32%, 10 points ahead of any other party. But there is also something very, very important. I imagine many people here have seen me around the country. I spend all my time on trains around the country. I have seen 7,000 people in 7 months. And this party is being built from the ground up and not the top down. And Lee made this point. This really is the people's army. And actually, when I'm going around the country, people say to me, we really need you because this is the last chance saloon for the United Kingdom. If reform does not deliver, we are in big trouble.
I think it's really important. I think it's really important to give this man credit because I missed sort of presenting with you. We were quite a double act. What's going on? You've gone all important on me, haven't you? I'm the chairman.
I don't think so, no. It was great, wasn't it? The conference was great, doing a double header, as we call it in the industry. You're doing a great job. Obviously, I've taught you a few lessons, so well done.
Sorry, what was that?
Don't you have a tie, by the way?
Oh, sod off and sit down. Right, sit down. David Bull, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I said... by the way, breaking news at 4:07, Keir Starmer is still in power, ladies and gentlemen. Almost as unpopular as Keir Starmer is a man called Sir Sadiq Khan. Next up, a lady who plans to throw him out of London. Layla Cunningham, take a thing. How are you? You all right? Can you really do a job on Sadiq Khan?
I'll do more of a job. I've got a message to Sadiq.
Oh?
His time's up. Because everyone in London knows that London should be the greatest city in the world, and the only party that's going to bring that about is Reform.
When you look today, you think of the job that you're trying to do in London, you see a Monday afternoon in Birmingham, 2,500 people. What does it make you think about this as a movement?
Listen, I get stopped by all kinds of people in London. You know, people tell me, oh, it's a certain type of voter that votes Reform. We all know it's not. There's no left or right. There's just voters who want a government that works for them, keeps them safe, keeps taxes low, delivers good public services, and for God's sake, believes in the sovereignty of this country. And only Reform does that.
Thank you. Brilliant. There they are. Look at them. It's like, just get the camera. Look at that. Sweeping along. Zia, how are you? Nice to see you. Ty's bought the ring yet? Lee Anderson says you're a tight ass. He did. Have you got a comment to say to that?
Yeah, I'll have a word with him later.
I'm a bit bruised up. Robert, very good. Lee, you're the man, aren't you? Chief Whip. Andrew, thank you. The lovely Sarah. And Danny, you're not getting a kiss. Thank you very much indeed. Give the Rogues Gallery a round of applause. Right. So... not long to go now. The main man himself will be here to tell you about his vision and about how Nigel Farage believes that he can change the United Kingdom. First up, of course, is the May elections. Before the main man comes out, we thought it important to show you the journey, the momentum, the vibe that Reform UK has had over the last 12 months. Enjoy.
This could be a new dawn for British politics. Nigel Farage's party took this once safe Labour seat.
Winning's obviously fantastic, but just think about the swing. Think about the change. Their vote has collapsed, and much of it's come to us. Nobody in Westminster will learn any lessons from this in the short term, but I tell you what, this is happening. It's not a one-off, it's real.
New leaked membership figures show that Reform UK has now surpassed the Labour Party to become the largest political party in the United Kingdom, and it marks the first time in 15 years a party other than Labour has claimed that top spot.
His name is Daniel Kruger, and he joins me on the stage now. I will welcome Robert Jenrick into this room and into Reform UK.
Romford MP Andrew Rosendale has defected to Reform UK.
Would you please welcome to the stage former Home Secretary Suella Braverman. Whoever comes out on top on May the 7th, it may well decide who the Prime Minister is, so the stakes are very, very high.
A latest polling projection from YouGov, it puts Reform UK on course to be the next government and Nigel Farage on course to be the next Prime Minister.
The Tories are nowhere in this contest leading up to May the 7th, so the opportunity for something fresh and something new has never, ever been greater.
Please welcome to the stage the leader of Reform UK, Nigel Farage.
Good afternoon, Birmingham. Well, here we are. Reform UK meeting in Birmingham. There's joy, there's optimism, there's humour, there's great belief that we can turn this country around. And yes, there are fireworks, and we enjoy ourselves. But spare a thought. No, please. Spare a thought for Downing Street this afternoon, where the curtains are drawn and the political life of the most unpopular and most useless Prime Minister in living memory is drawing to a close. The Mandelson saga tells you all that you need to know. Its depth, the numbers of people it involves, the sheer level of corruption is probably the biggest political scandal we've seen for 100 years, and it's not as if the PM wasn't warned. Everyone knew that the bloke was a wrong 'un. So McSweeney, in the short term, has carried the can. As you might have heard when you arrived, the Scottish leader, Anna Sarwar, has called on him to go. The cabinet are coming out one by one being loyal, because none of them want to appear to be the person that wields the knife. And he has to meet the backbench Labour Party at 6 p.m. this evening, where I expect the conversation will be of a rather franker nature. He won't be there for long. He'll be gone and replaced by somebody undoubtedly far worse. Far worse. It took the Conservatives 14 years, 14 long years of disaster to get into the mess they did, and this mob have managed it within a space of 18 months. I suppose you've got to admire it, really. But either way, what we do know is there is now a very clear dividing line in British politics. Keir Starmer says the country is not broken. Kemi Badenoch says the country is not broken. And we say, and 74% of the public agree with us in opinion polls, we say Britain is broken and Britain needs reform. And it doesn't matter where you look. It doesn't matter where you look. Just look at our public services. The NHS, just as one example. It's literally impossible for the NHS to cope with the level of population explosion that has happened in this country over the course of the last 20 years. And I can scarcely believe that now we are offshoring the NHS, outsourcing the NHS. You could get a telephone Zoom consultation from a doctor on a beach in Malaysia. Don't ever let the Labour Party say that Reform want to privatise the NHS whilst they're outsourcing the NHS, whilst at the same time putting a cap on the number of students who qualify as doctors and nurses every year. Complete and utter madness. And of course, our borders are completely broken. And this, I think, in many ways represents the greatest breach of trust between the governors and the governed. You think of it, the 2010 manifesto from the Conservatives, the 2015 manifesto from the Conservatives, the 2017 manifesto from the Conservatives, promising to reduce net migration to tens of thousands a year. And then in 2019, a Boris majority, Brexit done, every reason to believe we'd get a grip. And then we got the Boris wave with net up to 1 million people coming in a single year, most of whom are not bringing the kind of skills and support that our country needs. And frankly, whether it's immigration or anything else, the Conservatives were a disaster. They broke Britain, and all that Starmer and Labour are doing is making the situation worse. And the same comes for illegal immigration. Just think about it. How could it be in our interests to allow nearly 200,000 undocumented young males into our country? And that is what has happened under both the Conservatives and Labour, and now more people have arrived by boat under Starmer than did under any other Prime Minister. Our borders are broken. Our economy is broken. No one dares admit it. The national debt increased 2.5 times in 14 years of Conservatives and is now absolutely, totally out of control under what I think, despite the CV, oh no, she's got a good CV, that Rachel Reeves. 10 years, a senior economist at the Bank of England. Do you know what? She is the most useless Prime Minister in our history and an embarrassment to us on the world stage. She clearly hasn't got a clue what she's doing. As our debt explodes, as our welfare bill goes through the roof, business confidence sinks. And I particularly want to mention small business. There are 5.6 million men and women out there engaged in their own enterprises who frankly feel persecuted by both of the last two governments. And we are the party that's on the side of Alarm Clock Britain. We're on the party on the side of people who want to get up, run their businesses, have a go, and believe you me, I think those self-employed and small businesses will vote reform at the next election. Frankly, there is nobody else who even understands what they do, because almost no one in business has ever had a proper job, and that is going to change. We are deindustrializing at a rate of knots. Heavy manufacturing, heavy engineering, shipbuilding, cement making, chemicals, steel. You can go through the long list. It's all gone off to India and China. And then the very same goods are exported back here. And we're doing it in the name of net zero. We're doing it in the name of saving the planet, despite the fact the goods that are offshored are produced to lower environmental standards and then shipped all the way back. It's incredible. In 2010, we spent £6 billion importing energy from overseas. In 2024, we spent £36 billion importing energy from overseas. We are taxed at the highest level we've been since the war, and many, many people, not just the rich, but many bright, young, ambitious people are leaving our country in what is now approaching an exodus. Our economy is broken. And have a look at our politics. That is well and truly broken. Well, you can see how broken the Labour government is, but think of the 4 years of endless psychodrama the last Conservative government put us through. Too busy fighting each other to even consider standing up and fighting for the voters and the people of this country. We have a Prime Minister who is not a leader, and things are changing on both the centre-right and the centre-left. For all of our lifetimes, we've understood that there was a two-party system that led to government in Britain. And I can say today, for the first time, the two-party system we've known all of our lives is now over. It's gone. It's consigned to history. Reform has broken the mould of British politics, something Roy Jenkins tried to do 40 years ago and failed. We have broken the mould, and that's why we've led in the last 200 opinion polls. And I must tell you that I approach May the 7th and those elections in Scotland, in Wales, in all 32 London boroughs and thousands of seats up and down the country. I now approach May the 7th with a growing sense of optimism every single day. I really do. And so broken is our politics, they've even started cancelling elections. I thought only banana republics cancelled elections. Well, I will be in the High Court on the 19th and 20th of February when we fight the government at judicial review, not just for the elections this year, but to think that in the case of Norfolk, of Suffolk, of East and West Sussex, if this goes ahead, it will be the second year in a row that elections have been cancelled. We go into that court fight with every reason to think that we are going to upstage the establishment and that we are going to win and re-enfranchise 5 million people. Now, there is a number of people in those counties, particularly those for the second year in a row, have now started cancelling their direct debits and standing orders for their council tax. They're doing so on the basis of no taxation without representation. Now, of course, I could not possibly. None of us could we? Behave, Lee. We couldn't possibly support such action, but do you understand? I'm sure you'd feel the same way. We're going to do something about it. Now, if Sir Keir or whoever follows you, and if Kemi, if you don't believe Britain is broken, I tell you what, come here to Birmingham, because Birmingham is well and truly broken. The city is bust. Another volunteer to stand for the council elections. Thank you very much indeed, sir. The city is bust, and of course much of it caused by a piece of EU law written into the Equalities Act. As the rubbish piles up on the streets, it is said there are rats here today, the biggest that have been seen since the Western Front many years ago. And sectarian politics. Sectarian politics is now here, alive and well, in what we've always known as Britain's second city. People now voting purely on religious grounds. There's even a candidate standing in Birmingham who's a former convicted terrorist. But this is all thought apparently to be okay. And this, egged on and encouraged by a police force who, when they banned the travelling Israeli football fans, did so simply because they were Jewish. That is what Birmingham has sunk to. A deindustrialised city that used to be the workshop of the world. Slayed at the altar of net zero and the highest industrial energy prices in the world. Birmingham is broken. Birmingham needs reform. And I dare say on May the 7th, Birmingham is going to get reform. Now, unless you face up to the facts that Britain is broken, unless you're prepared to be honest enough to accept the depth of trouble that we're in, you can't begin to even contemplate what the actions needed to rectify it are. And that, I believe, is what gives us, above all, our biggest advantage over our competitors who've still got their heads very, very firmly tucked in the sand. They somehow think that you can fiddle with the boiler, replace a couple of spare parts and it'll all be okay. And we say no. We need a brand new boiler and not a heat pump. We need a completely brand new system. So Britain is broken. Britain does need reform, and reform will fix it. We've got the character, the attitude, the mindset, the optimism, the belief. Nothing will stop us from doing it. We will fix it, period. And we will stick to our fundamental principles. We will stick to the slogan that summarizes why we are and what we are. Our priorities are family, community, and country, and we care about those things, frankly, to the exclusion of all else. Because if we do, and we respect the Judeo-Christian principles which underpin the entirety of our civilization, if we understand those things, respect those things, then we can proceed with people in position and with policies that will all be based around one political theme. And that political theme is national interest. We will act in the national interest and of its people at every given opportunity, regardless of criticism. We will no longer kowtow to the European Union or unelected European commissioners. We will no longer even listen to illegitimate United Nations courts like the ICJ, who, with a judge from Russia and China, have persuaded our Prime Minister to give away, no, sorry, not to give away, to pay to hand over the strategically important Chagos Islands. We will not be listening to courts like that in the future. We'll be acting in our own national self-interest. And we won't do the bidding of the Chinese Communist Party in the shameful way that this Prime Minister, this government, and many of its officials do. Did you see after his visit to Beijing that today British citizen and democracy rights campaigner Jimmy Lai has been given a further 20 years in prison? Starmer doesn't negotiate. Starmer doesn't stand up for the interests of British people, of whom Jimmy Lai is one. He surrenders at every twist and turn. And we will end DEI in our public sector. Get rid of two-tier policing, of two-tier justice. We will, because we're firm, we're determined, we don't mind what abuse we're going to get, we will stop the rot. And we'll do it because the national interest demands that we do. Just as it demands that we abolish this insane net zero agenda, it's going to go under us. And we will. We will get the North Sea operating again. We'll get rid of the ludicrous taxation that Jeremy Hunt and the Conservatives put on and Rachel Reeves made worse. Whether you like it or not, we will be using oil and gas until at least 2050. So in that case, why not simply produce our own? It makes sense. It's in the national interest. And we will look to countries like South Korea, who were able to do nuclear energy with no concessions on safety for a quarter of the cost that it does our bungling idiots in government. We'll produce oil and gas, we'll build nuclear energy, because frankly, we're going to need it. Not just for existing manufacturing, what's left of it, but think of the 21st century technologies. And by the way, we're the only party really thinking about this. Think about AI. Think about data centers. Think about the world of crypto, which isn't going away. To be engaged in that, you need more energy than we've ever produced in our histories. We must and we have to be ready for that because it is in the national interest. And we will do everything in the national self-interest to try and produce as much food as we can in this country and not allow our farmers to be bought out by those biodiversity deserts of solar farms. Let's produce food and get rid of all the solar farms. Simple as. And while we're on security, Starmer's hideous 11-year surrender of much of our fishing to European countries has been a hammer blow to coastal communities all over this country, and we will take back what is rightfully ours, give our fishing industry a chance to live and thrive. It's all about putting our own people first. And in our national interest, we must stop extreme teaching unions poisoning the minds of our kids. We've got to stop this happening. We will ensure there is a patriotic, balanced, historical agenda that our children learn. And we will also recognise that not everybody is fit to go to university to do an ology. That actually in the modern world of AI, people with trades and skills are not going to get replaced by computers. So from the age of 16, boys and girls should at school be able to start learning trades and skills that will last them for their entire lives. But we have to start making money. The country is going bust. We're caught in a trap where there are many at work who would actually be better off on welfare. And we will have to cut the welfare budget. Not everybody will like it, but, you know, I'm sorry, but mild anxiety, I mean, after a heavy night out, I have mild anxiety. Well, less so than before. But you can't go on the sick because you've got mild anxiety. But it is an attitudinal change that Britain needs. An attitudinal change to hard work rather than work-life balance. An attitudinal change to the idea of working from home. People aren't more productive working at home. It's a load of nonsense. They're more productive being with other fellow human beings and working as part of a team. I want us to be the champions of have a go Britain. People setting up businesses, people having a go. They may succeed, they may not, but many will, and I'm pleased that Kevin Byrne, who was the founder of checkertrade.com, is going to be our mentor in helping us produce the right policies for millions more men and women to set up their own businesses and have the chance to make a big success of their lives. And I'm proud that we're going to do that. But the Whitehall class don't get it. The Westminster class don't get it. They don't understand hard work. They don't understand business, and we do. And the same goes for tax. Why would you want all the richest people who pay the most amounts of tax to leave the country? Because if you do that, it means the taxes that everybody else has to pay, who's at work, go up. It is the economics of jealousy. It is the economics of small-mindedness. It is the economics of stupidity. And I want to reverse the exodus. I want the rich to come back and pay taxes here. I want to stop young 30-something ambitious people leaving our country. And tax is part of it, but it's not all of it. One of the other reasons people are leaving London in such numbers is because of the near collapse of law and order. And it isn't just London, is it? It's the same in all of our cities. And the academic experts will tell you that crime is falling. Is it hell? Whether it's phone thefts or frauds or sexual assaults or whatever it is, crime is getting worse. And that's why I'm very, very pleased that after all these years of Sadiq Khan, of London becoming lawless, that beginning with our campaign on the 7th of May in the 32 boroughs, but heading on to the London mayoral elections in a couple of years' time, our candidate is going to be vigilante mum Layla Cunningham to bring back law and order to London. And yes, we will control our borders. We will act in the national interest in terms of defence, in terms of waking up to the fact that our defences were shredded in 14 years of Conservative government, and despite all of Labour's promises, it isn't actually happening. And if we have to cut the welfare budget to make our defences stronger in a dangerous world, well then that is exactly what we are going to have to do. We can't defend ourselves right now. We need to be able to. Now, 20 months ago, I took a very big and life-changing decision. Having retired from politics, once we got Brexit over the line, I decided that I would come back into politics, and I did so because I believed that at that moment in time, I was the best person to lead the fight back against the shredding of all of the values and all of the good things that this country had stood for. I can't be bought. I can't be bullied. I've stood for the same principles for many, many decades. I'm not doing this for my health. There are many other things in life I could be doing. But 18 months on, I believe even more strongly that I am the right person at this moment in time to lead this vital and historic movement. And I won't get everything right, but I will always lead with courage. If you can survive the snakes in I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, you can survive pretty much anything. But of course, the criticism consistently has been, you're not ready for the election because you're a one-man band. Well, that is all changing, and it's changed rapidly. Whilst we've had in the existing team talent, hard work, ability and life experience, what we've lacked is experience in number 10. What we've lacked is experience in government. What we've lacked is long-term experience in Parliament. And that is why Nadine Dorries, Jake Berry, Nadeem Zahawi, Danny Kruger, Andrew Rosendahl, Robert Jenrick and Suella Braverman are very welcome in our camp, and we're delighted to see many of you here today. And that complements enormously what myself and David Bull, Zia Youssef, Richard Tice, Sarah Pochin, and of course, Lee Anderson have been doing already. Anyone from the outside can see we're now beginning to actually build a team of people. And I will also go on encouraging those from outside politics with expertise to join us. People like Colin Sutton, people like Vanessa Frake, and there are many, many more people out there who will answer the call because they realise just how much trouble our once great country is in. The May the 7th elections are crucial. They are our equivalent of the midterms. And I'm pleased that we've got the right leadership in Malcolm Offord in Scotland, Dan Thomas in Wales, and Layla Cunningham in London. We've got the right people. But I'm not going to wait until after May the 7th for the next phase, because things are moving rather quickly out there. I will, within the next few days, start to unveil the first people who will act as our spokesman and act as our shadow cabinet ministers. That is coming in just a few days' time and will represent yet more maturity for our party. And I'm looking forward to that, very, very much indeed. I said here in September that I thought the general election would happen in 2027. Well, of course, I was mocked and ridiculed. I'm always mocked and ridiculed. Well, I stand by that, but it could come more quickly. This whole thing could just unravel. Starmer goes, the party moves to the hard left, there's a further exodus of capital and people from the country, the bond markets lose confidence. I know Andy Burnham and the others say, we're not worried about the bond market. Well, you may not be worried about the bond market, but the bond market's worried about you. So as of 3 o'clock today, on our website, reformparty.uk, as of 3 o'clock today, I have opened the lists for people to apply to be general election candidates for this party. And I do today put this party on a general election war footing. We will make sure that when it comes, whenever it is, that we are ready in every way to fight and to win that election. And we're fighting because we believe that we want and need a proud, independent country that stands up on its own 2 feet, cherishes its past, but embraces its future. It's a place people want to come and live, a place people want to come and invest, a place where wealth and better living standards can be created. We have been totally failed by the two-party system, totally failed by career politicians. I am putting together a team of people who will do much, much better than that. And what I love about this party, about the events that we hold, is the optimism, the belief that we can do it. And you are our people's army. And without you, we can't do it. But I believe we can do it. Do you? Yeah. I believe we can do it. Do you? Yeah. Thank you very much indeed, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, now, you're now all part of a very large press conference. So behave. First up is Catherine Foster from GB News. I'm not sure that every media channel will quite get that round of applause, but anyway, Catherine, please.
Thank you, Catherine Forster, GB News. Obviously, chaos in Downing Street, the Prime Minister's position very precarious. You've talked about the national interest. What do you think the Prime Minister should do in the national interest? Should he resign now or in the coming weeks? And when you said about something much worse could replace him, could you elaborate on that?
Yes. Look, if a Prime Minister loses credibility, can't command the House of Commons, can't command his own party, doesn't have respect internationally, then it's not in the national interest for him or her to stay. So I think that he should resign, and I think that he will, before very long, resign. I think Anna Sarwar is a very big marker. I mean, how can Labour now fight the Scottish elections if Starmer stays as Prime Minister? It's virtually impossible, isn't it? And the same, I think, will come for Wales very, very shortly. And there's supposed to be a meeting of the Parliamentary Labour Party at 6 o'clock tonight, which could be very entertaining. When I say much worse, they'll go further to the left. The centre of gravity of the Labour Party is being dragged leftwards. It's being dragged leftwards by sectarian votes and fear of losing to more Gaza independence. It's being dragged leftwards by the advent of Zach Polanski. Some pretty crazy ideas, but that's where it's going. So I suspect that the next leader of the Labour Party will have even worse policies on tax, will drive the exodus of talent from the country, and I think things are going to get worse before they get better. But you know, maybe the truth is, if Starmer goes, maybe what the public really deserve is a general election, and that is what we'll push for. Okay, moving on. Ellie Price, BBC News. Honestly, I said behave. You haven't heard the question yet?
Actually, I didn't know I was getting one, Nigel, but... So you think the general election could be far sooner rather than later? You're talking about announcing your shadow cabinet in the coming days. Are you really ready?
Well, you know, we're only really just, we've really only been properly in gear for the last 18, 20 months. What we've achieved in that short space of time is truly remarkable. But it's rather like building a company. The first 25% takes a long time, and then once you've got things moving, things slip into gear very quickly. I said a couple of weeks ago we were 50% prepared. I would argue within a month or 2 months, we will genuinely be ready. Certainly more ready than all of the others. And is it an enormous challenge? Yes. But we've managed to maintain a great sense of spirit, optimism, and team unity. We will be ready, and I'm not sure the general election will come voluntarily. I just think there is an outside possibility that over the summer months, there is some kind of economic market meltdown that brings an early election. So I'm still sticking with it's probably 27, but the chances of it being 26 have gone up considerably in the last 48 hours. Thank you. Sorry. Rob Mayer from BBC Midlands Today. Hello.
Hi, welcome again to the West Midlands. Rob Mayer, BBC Midlands Today. I mean, you had tremendous success in this part of the world at the local elections in May last year. Your key promises were to reduce waste and cut tax. So what do you say to voters who might be feeling let down in places like Staffordshire, Warwickshire, where council tax is going up, and in Worcestershire, where one of your councillors, David Taylor, actually resigned over the weekend over plans to raise council tax by nearly 10%?
Well, Worcestershire's a total basket case. You know that. I know that. It's on the edge of bankruptcy. We are not in majority control in Worcestershire, so I take that out of the equation. But if we want to talk about Staffordshire, we want to talk about Warwickshire, first point, never once did I say we'd cut council tax. Never once in the campaign did I say we'd do that, because I knew it would be impossible given how tough the finances were. What we said is we would find waste and save money. And across our councils, we've made about £300 million in savings thus far. Our council tax increases in the councils we control are lower than the council tax increases for the other parties in the rest of the country. So I would say to you, we're not off to a bad start. Okay, Lewis Warner, ITV News Central.
Thank you. I'd like to ask, you said you're on a general election war footing. If the Prime Minister does resign in the coming days, would you call on that next Labour leader to call a general election? Are you ready for that? And if so, why should they? Because some of the MPs sitting opposite here didn't call a by-election when they defected.
No, they didn't. You're right. And of the last 200 and something MP defections, only 2 have ever occasioned by-elections. I just think legitimacy of Prime Ministers. We've had so many Prime Ministers now. Where is the legitimacy of a Prime Minister who's not been approved by the people? And I think the office of Prime Minister is being rapidly devalued. Yes, I accept it's the Conservative Party that did that. I mean, it was hard to keep up at times, wasn't it, how many there were? But no, I think there will be a big call in the country for a general election. They may well ignore it, and they probably will ignore it, as I said earlier, but do not underestimate financial events spiralling out of control if they go for a leader that is on the hard left of British economics. So I still think it may happen. I doubt they will offer it to us, sadly. Sophie Church, Daily Mail.
Thanks, Nigel. So if you are to succeed at the next general election, how will you host sensible, productive conversations with the civil service, given you've said you'll slash numbers, and in response, civil servants have said they'll revolt?
Well, we've had civil servants saying that they're suffering through emotional trauma at the prospects of a reform government. Well, that sounds like the first cost cutting is going to be quite easy, doesn't it, really? I do not have direct experience of working with the civil service. Richard Tice and I have not been in that position before. But we've spoken to enough people who tell us there are many good people in the civil service who want to do their best. And what we have to do is find out who are the good ones and keep them. And with the advent of AI, I promise you, with the advent of AI, there are going to be a lot of job losses in the civil service anyway. What we cannot have is an obstructive civil service that willfully try to prevent the manifesto of a government being put through. And to a very large extent, that is what Danny Kruger has come into the party to do, to prepare us for government, to work out what executive powers we do have or don't have, and make sure we make the right choices. I mean, it's the same with the House of Lords. That's another potential obstruction to what we need to do. So I understand the question, we are thinking about it, and we are working on it. Geneviève from the Daily Telegraph.
Hi, Nigel. You say that you want to put experts from outside of politics onto your front bench, and you'll be announcing names within the next few days. But how would you do this if you were to get into power? Would you use the House of Lords and appoint them peerages in order to get them into those positions? And previously, you've said that you want to abolish the House of Lords. Is that still your position?
Well, the House of Lords as it currently exists is an absolute monstrosity. Absolute monstrosity. I mean, filled up with hundreds of Tony Blair's mates and David Cameron's mates, most of whom live within the same 2 postcodes in West London. I mean, it's a nonsense. No, radical change to the House of Lords. Look, if you appoint people from outside, you've got 2 options. If they're not in Parliament, one is, yes, the traditional route, you put them in the House of Lords. A better route, in my opinion, is to make the committees that meet in the House of Commons more powerful, to give them legal force, so that ministers can genuinely be held to account. And that, to me, would be a far better system. It really, really would. Sophie from the Daily Mirror.
Hi, thanks, Nigel. So last year, one of your new MPs, Robert Jenrick, complained about visiting Handsworth in Birmingham, where he said he didn't see another white face when he was speaking about integration. Do you think the best way to assess whether an area is integrated is by the number of white people in it? Thank you.
No, it's by, do people speak the same language? Do kids play together in the street? Is there a sense of commonality, and is there a sense of community? And I think there is a feeling in too many areas of excessive levels of immigration, regardless of geography, ethnicity. Actually, we finished up with desperately divided societies, and that's a fault of irresponsible immigration policies. Simple as that. Right, now, can I ask Richard and the other MPs to join me, please, now on the stage? Now, gather in quite tight. No one too near the edges. We come forward. Come in. Lee was hiding, I can't believe it. On behalf of all of us, massive thanks for you turning out on a Monday afternoon in such numbers. Massive thanks for your enthusiasm, your optimism, your energy. I know many of you are going to be engaged in these elections coming up. There's one coming up later on this month, a load more coming up on the 7th of May. And what you see before you is a growing parliamentary team, a team that now has more depth and breadth and experience than it had before, and a team that before long will be very much bigger. Thank you, everybody. It's all right.